There are clearly good movies and clearly bad movies. But sometimes we like to make really stupid decisions all for God and the love of a country to find out what is everything in the middle. This is good, bad good.
Yeah.
Put the bunny back in the box.
I knew you was a punk, and I was right. You been playing us all along. You a free man.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. I have the only gun on board. Welcome to Con Air.
Yeah, that was good.
Bravo.
I couldn't look at you.
I was wondering, I was like, why is he holding his cheeks? Does he, I was wondering if you were like pushing up your cheeks to make
that
the
had nothing to
Nicolas
do with the
Cage
accent.
voice. Yeah.
I was just trying to like not look at you and like.
That accent was just as good as Nick Cage's in this movie.
I think so, yeah. I really do. Yeah.
Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Good, Bad, Good. My name is Travis Orozco. I am a director and producer. With me, as always, is
Kylie Amai. I'm an actor and a writer.
And
Brian Ossup, I'm a video editor, and Travis, you kind of are our director as well.
Yeah, you are.
sure. If you couldn't tell by my intro and the video or the movie samples, this week we are doing Con Air. But before we get into the movie, I did want to bring up something that was like super important. For those of you who don't know, we have an expert on this panel, and I needed to ask for advice. Brian, where can we find those big Oreos?
So there's a few different types of big Oreos, okay? You've got the most stuff, and you've got the mega stuff.
I want the most stuff. Mega stuff you could find at like the store.
What's the difference?
Well, so the
Not-
just
I'm
came
not-
out.
I'm not an
Which one-
Oreo
wait.
connoisseur.
Which one
so-
do you think would be bigger? Most or mega?
Mega,
Okay,
right?
you're wrong.
Well,
Yeah.
because the other one says it's
Most.
the most
It's the most
stuffed. Oh, that makes
Well,
sense.
I think it was
Full
also,
Kai.
they probably came out with the mega,
Got me.
not thinking they were going to come out with like more stuff.
I love the Oreo cookie and not the stuff. So when are they going to come
Oh,
out
the
with
Well, they have
no
Oreo
stuff
Thins.
at all?
What?
Oh, really?
No,
And it's
yeah.
just
So
the
the
cookie?
Oreo, but the Oreo Thins is but it's very small amounts. It's very small
It's like
amounts of cream.
minuscule. It's like the diet ones.
It's just lard and sugar. I'm not trying to eat that.
But it's incredible.
What do you think? What do you think an Oreo is?
Flour and sugar? Actually, it's not even. It's like processed corn gluck.
Yeah, it's not good for you. But
With a
anyways,
little
Cares?
processed chocolate
the
gluck.
more important point, I'm trying to figure out where to get the most stuff.
So I
Brian,
don't think
what stores?
I don't know if they're in stores anymore because it was a limited time only. Also, these ones that they just came out with, not only was it like 4 times the amount of cream as normal, but they also had pieces of the cookie in the cream. And it was the most incredible thing I have ever eaten in my entire life.
This man
I
sits here
also-
drinking a vanilla milkshake while he's telling us about this.
And hold on.
We've always made fun of Brian for his age, but actually Brian is 13. He's not old.
He's
I'm trying to
but
find
what
my
you
pillow.
need
I
is
can't-
Oreos.
We're trying to
crushed
say you're young, but
into
then you're
your
struggling to
vanilla
get out of
milkshake.
your.
No, I'm not struggling to get
giant
out. I'm trying to find where my
chair.
pillow.
How do
What
I
is
get
your
out of this?
pillow?
I
What's-
can't get out.
What? Oh my God! Oh, he is
My
an
Oreo
expert.
pillow. I was
did
trying
not-
to find my Oreo
I
pillow.
did not realize.
I wasn't joking. It's like his favorite. It's his favorite cookie.
No, it really is. I had
Okay.
Oreo slippers, but then I wore through the soles, so I got rid of them. But I do have an Oreo trucker hat, and I have an Oreo shirt
Sweet.
that's just a picture of a giant Oreo on the front of it.
Sweet. What's your favorite
Oreo,
cookie, Travis?
sponsor me.
Yeah.
Good, bad,
and
good.
us.
Brought to you by Oreo.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
It's
We're
got a
not
nice ring
saying
to
that
it.
unless they're paying us, and they're not paying us. Brian, work on it.
You can.
I'll take free cookies.
Yeah. Code code FREECOOKIE at Oreo.com.
Brian uses the code.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would. Try their website though.
Okay. You hear that, people? Try the website if you want the most stuff. I have looked several times because I do want to try that most stuff. And every single time I go there, and they just have the mega, the double, and the regular, and the thins. Oh, and the Cakester ones, which look disgusting.
What is a Cakester?
I've tried those.
They're not
bad.
They're not cookie. They're like it's like instead of
closer to
the
like a
black
whoopie
cookie,
pie
it's
or
like
something.
yeah, it's kind of like a whoopie pie.
Ew.
Do you not
The
like
only
whoopie
part.
pies?
No, absolutely not. I don't like cake in general. Cake is.
What?
Yeah. I feel like we've talked about this before.
I don't know. Travis, I feel like we need a new third host.
Yeah.
Look, I'm a salt connoisseur. So I could talk about potato chips and Cheez-Its
Ooh,
and
yeah.
things like that all day long.
I mean, Brian will probably jump
Sweet
on that
stuff,
conversation because
meh.
he's 13. But I personally am not a big potato chip
am.
fan.
Oh,
The
You're not a
only
big
chips
what?
I eat,
potato chip fan.
the
Oh,
only
I'm
chips
just
I
chips.
salty snacks in general. Give me anything fried, greasy, and salty. I'm down. Anything
that also.
that's
So
anything
fried
that's
Oreo.
like fried and sugary, I'm not down. It's gotta be salty. No, but a fried butter stick. If we're talking about like things that come from
From
the
the
county
fair.
fair, I'd eat a fried butter stick way before I ate a fried Oreo.
the fried Oreos.
Oreo?
So good.
Fried Oreos are like the greatest. Oh
So
my god, they're
good.
so good.
And then covered with chocolate syrup and powdered sugar.
Oof.
Holy shit! I never had the chocolate syrup on it.
What?
Oof.
I've
the
never
county
been any
fairs
place
in-
that's offered that.
Do the county fairs in Texas not?
Yeah,
not-
that feels like it would have come straight from Texas.
I haven't been to a. I don't like going out in public in Texas because I don't like getting shot when I go out.
Too soon, Brian. Too soon.
Let's edit that out. I
Actually,
don't want to
it's
get shot for saying that.
It's always too soon in this country, right?
Yeah, right. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because which one are we talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Actually, I thought of like 3 different ones right now when I said too
Yeah.
soon. When
Yeah.
anyway,
What's your favorite cookie, Travis? Just to bring us back to light.
So it's funny. So I don't have a big sweet tooth. Even though I brought up this conversation about Oreos,
'Cause you're
and the only reason I
craving
brought it up is
Oreos?
because I tried to find the most stuff like again for like the 4th time, like 2 days ago.
I pre-ordered them on their website to make sure I didn't miss out on getting them in stores. True story.
Oh my God.
2 bags. I paid like an extra $10 to ship them
That's
when I could have just probably
nuts.
driven to the store. Yeah.
No, you can't because I've driven to the store. I can't find them. It's like toilet paper at the beginning of the pandemic. Like that's what the most stuff Oreos are like right now.
That's so funny to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't have a big sweet tooth, and my wife makes fun of me. My favorite cookie, store-bought cookie, like not like baked at home or anything like that, is Chips Ahoy's, the
Yeah.
originals.
Oh, I
Crunchy
love the
or
chewy
soft?
Chips Ahoy.
Not the chewy, not the chunky, just the straight originals.
Yeah,
I
which
love
are
the
the
chewy
crunchy
Chips
ones,
Ahoys.
right?
I mean, they don't say crunchy; they
But
just
they
say
are
Chips Ahoy's.
crunchy.
Yeah.
Yeah. The chewy
Dipping those
can.
in milk.
I
and then
agree.
Swirling it around,
No, I
waiting for it to
love
go.
the
Yeah.
chewy. True
No.
story about the chewy.
Chewies
So
are
back in
gross. man.
2015
Chewies
Chewies,
are gross.
Chewies are
You,
disgusting.
Yeah.
fuck you guys. Let me just this story's still funny though. Back in 2015, I did a road trip with 4 of my buddies. I was living in DC at the time. We went to Nashville, Austin, and then New Orleans. The whole trip, we pretended like we were sponsored by Chewy Chips Ahoy just to see what kind of reactions we would get. We also bought like 20 things of Chewy Chips Ahoy for the trip. We got into like the back of a distillery and got all these free drinks. We like tricked all these people into giving us free drinks at bars and stuff because we were like, oh, we'll tag you in our post on Chewy Chips Ahoy. I mean, we never did. It's not like we were sponsored, but it was fucking great.
Did you wear like merch or like they just believed you?
Yeah, we even took one of the labels. Like, you know, when you peel it back off the thing, we cut it off and we taped it to like a cowboy hat that my buddy wore at like a bunch of the places we went throughout the trip.
Did it look like you just peeled it off of a thing and taped it to a cowboy?
Do you have a picture of this so we can share it?
100%.
Yeah.
It was great.
Great. Excellent.
I also love to just get the Chips Ahoy's and sit there with a jar of peanut butter and put peanut butter on the Chips Ahoy's. and then eat
Oh,
them.
I could fuck with that. Yeah, if I was there's a rare occasion where I do get a sweet tooth, and then I will just cover whatever sweet thing that I like in peanut butter, crunchy.
My sweet tooth is literally when it hits, it's literally just like a thing of Chips Ahoy's or like a double stuffed Oreo.
Yeah,
like, that's the extent of my sweet tooth.
I go to Magpies. Have you been to
Yeah,
Magpies?
I've gone. I'm not I just don't have a sweet tooth. Like, it's like the easiest thing at a restaurant to bypass as well. Like, and it's like
For me
dessert.
too.
I'm like, no, I'm good.
Not for me.
Unless
I
it's-
have the biggest sweet tooth of anybody I've ever met in my life.
What do you think all the Con Air cons
I was
ate
just about
in
to
Oh,
say.
prison?
transition.
What kind of cookies
Nice.
you think what was his name?
That-
Sirius?
Cyrus the virus.
That's an actual name. Thank you. Cyrus. Yeah, what kind of chips do you think Cyrus the virus went after? Chips Ahoy?
I mean, I think he was just like
From the
salting crackers,
commissary?
right? Just, like,
Saltine
plain
I feel, like
crackers?
I feel like he's eating kale chips. He's a classic guy for a mass murderer.
Sure, but I don't think they give them kale chips in prison.
He found a way.
They don't do a lot of the things that they do in this movie in prison.
In prison. yeah. Touche.
So,
Yeah.
this is a movie podcast. And this week we watched Con
Should
Air.
we transition to sweets podcast?
my
Just talk about
gosh,
sweets.
Brian.
I mean,
You brought this up, not me. This was I
that
did not
did
bring
last
this up.
about like 20
And clearly
minutes.
I'm
so
trying to drag us back to the movie.
just
your fault.
like somebody had to be dragged in the movie somewhere.
Just
in
like
one of the action
Cameron
shots.
Poe kept getting dragged back onto the plane to try to save his friend Bubba Gump.
There you go. That's what we wanted.
Travis, remove your hand from your face.
That's what we
This is
wanted.
high quality
That's where
content.
I was going. That was quality. I liked it.
Thank you.
And yes, I just kept calling him Bubba. He had a name in the movie, but when I was like writing notes and stuff,
yeah,
I was like
it was
Bubba.
like Baby or something, wasn't it? Hold on, I'm gonna
because
look it
because he's in Forrest Gump, right?
Yeah.
up. Yes.
I did.
And you can't think of that actor. I couldn't I kept looking at him and being like, "Where's your big lip?" Because
Yeah.
in Forrest
Me
Gump,
too.
he just does the thing the
This
whole
just
time.
goes to show my ignorance of Forrest Gump, but I was like, I don't know who that because like Amanda was like, oh, that's Bubba
Bubba.
Gump from
Yeah. There's all kinds
What?
of shrimps.
Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
From Forrest Gump, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I had
So
no idea.
his name
And-
is Baby O.
Oh my gosh.
his
Okay.
character.
All right. Before we jump into talking about the movie more than we already have, we are going to give you at
Which is
home
not
a
at all.
a plot synopsis. Hey Google, what's the plot synopsis of the movie Con Air?
Here's the synopsis of Con Air. Just paroled Army Ranger Cameron Poe, Nicolas Cage, is headed back to his wife, Monica Potter, but must fly home aboard a prison transport flight dubbed Jailbird with some of the worst criminals living. Along with Diamond Dog, Ving Rhames, and Baby O, McKelty Williamson, genius serial killer Cyrus, the Virus, Grissom, John Malkovich, unleashes a violent escape plot in mid-flight. Secretly working with U.S. Marshal Vince Larkin, John Cusack, Poe tries to foil Grissom's plan.
That was quite detailed.
Was
They
it, or
never
was
give
she just
the
saying
actors
every
names
single?
like that.
Yeah, it was just like everyone's actor's name, or like all the actors' names. I feel like.
Maybe.
Not everyone. They didn't mention Chappelle.
Oh my gosh,
Oh my god.
Brian's on another one today. He just
He's
wants to be a
hopped
part of
up
this
on
episode.
sugar.
Listen, I got a milkshake going on. You were talking about Oreos. I'm in
He
my
is
place right
ready
now.
to go.
Usually every episode, Brian's like,
Travis
good? I'm
knows this
looking at
well
the
because I think he's
IMDb's and
been
stuff.
editing our.
"Fuck you guys."
That's fucking killing me. It's so true.
I hate you, Travis.
I feel like we should edit a blooper reel just of that.
It just
That's
Of
gonna
like
be in
me
the
doing it.
episode.
Oh my god, yes, please.
Of like me doing it. I mean, all the different times from all the
Literally, when we-
episodes that I've done something like that.
When we drop this episode, you have to also drop just a video of Brian.
supercut of
Yeah,
Brian.
yeah. Supercut. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so verdicts for this movie, guy,
Good, bad.
Brian,
Yo, yeah. Good, bad.
Yeah.
I would even say
and
amazing, bad.
and everyone else in the whole choir said good, bad.
Yeah.
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 This was Brian's pick for this week. Brian, since you want to talk so much in this episode, why was this your pick?
Because I love this movie, but it's admittedly fucking ridiculous and dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's so many plot points that just make no sense at all.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the acting is good, some of the acting is not good. But I just like I don't know, this was like back in the day when I felt like Nick Cage could do no wrong as far as I was concerned. This was like a year after The Rock came out. Then you had this. You had Face Off around the same time. It's like, beautiful.
Yeah. I think the last of his good movies from this era, and by good I mean like so outrageous that like they're still very enjoyable.
Yeah.
I will watch Gone in 60 Seconds every single time that it's on TV.
Oh yeah, I love that.
Oh,
one.
yeah. I
It's-
forgot about that movie. I haven't seen that in a while.
It's probably the least good. It's probably the worst of these that we're mentioning, because
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like definitely I feel like The Rock is probably the best of all of them.
Oh,
It's like
definitely.
I mean, I'm sure there's an argument for each one depending on when you saw it, probably.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
I do think The Rock is the best made of all of them.
I've never seen The Rock.
Did you not
Oh,
watch
The
any
Rock?
Nick Cage movies growing up?
I watched.
It's all right.
I
Amanda
watched
didn't
like
either.
Raising Arizona. I watched like ones that
Oh.
are fucking great.
I only watched Nick Cage's award-winning movies.
That's just a great movie. Let's just
It
talk
is,
about
but
it.
it's
That's
also one of his award-winning
Yeah. But yeah, I also haven't seen Con Air, which is actually crazy to me because
Did you say you haven't seen it?
This was my
Yeah.
first time watching Con Air.
It was
Oh, 'cause
Amanda's
I was going to
first
say,
time,
did
too.
you not watch it prior to tonight?
Yeah, but I couldn't figure out why because both my mom, like I was just down at my mom's house for Easter this last weekend. My stepdad, it's like his favorite movie. My mom was like, "How the hell have you never seen Con Air? It's played in our house 1,000 times." And I was like, "Yeah, I feel like that is true. Like, why have I never actually seen this movie?"
Then your mom was like, "Am I a bad parent?"
And she was. She was like,
Yeah.
"I really fucked you up, kid, didn't I?" And I was like, "Yes, I haven't seen The Rock."
Finally, we can talk about
Yeah.
this. And then your mom's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! I was talking about Con Air."
Exactly. Oh, good thing she doesn't listen to the podcast. You
None of our
don't
parents listen to
support
this
me,
podcast.
Mom. Just joking.
Anyway, if this is your first time here, and if it's not, I'm still going to remind you, we will talk about 3 different categories for this film, or break this down into 3 different categories. The first up is going to be plot, synopsis, script, narrative structure of the film. Brian, go for it.
You want me to just go through the plot points?
No, what? Okay, I'm gonna admit,
What? You just said go.
I-
You just said go for it. You didn't say go for what.
this is not your. I know this is your first episode that you're participating in, but
Wait, can we talk about the fact that Travis is so angry that you actually are participating? He like brought you onto this podcast because he wanted you to participate, and now he's fucking screaming at you every time you try to.
I can't
This is
win.
Great. He's a manipulative, badgering. You're going
For the
gaslighting.
record,
You're a gaslighter.
yeah, that's true. For the record, it is sometimes hard to participate with the two of you in the same room and me like 1,000
we
miles
know.
away. So sometimes
know.
you guys
Now
forget
he's
that
the
I'm here.
victim.
we don't forget that you're there.
Yeah, you do.
I mean, I do.
That's why I sometimes just cut to you sitting there when we're talking.
I'm just sitting there, just like twiddling my thumbs. Okay, so what do you want me to go for?
That's why when Kai has a really good point that like contradicts what I say, I just cut to you. So that everyone's Thank you, Kai, for throwing me under the bus
No,
for that.
yeah, sure.
Brian,
That's
would
what
you
I'm here
please
for.
Thanks,
like
Kai,
to
for defending me.
Sure.
Would you please like to put in your input on what you thought about this plot, structure, script, and narrative?
Yeah, it's,
you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I am picking up what you are putting down. Yeah, the plot. Like, if you just read me, if you just like give me the idea, like former Army Ranger is in jail, hits parole, is being flown home, and it gets taken over by the inmates on the plane. Like, that's just a ridiculous statement in a lot of ways.
But not just the inmates. It's like the worst
Yeah.
inmates
yeah, true.
you
The
could
worst of the
ever
worst.
put together. Which, like,
Yeah.
why? Who the fuck would put all these people on a plane together?
Yeah, and also I really highly doubt that if somebody's actually being paroled, that he would be on the same flight as all of these people being transferred to another prison.
Sure.
Like, realistically, they would just shove him out the door at the prison he's at and tell someone to come pick him up.
Come
Like,
pick
they're
him
not
up.
I mean,
flying him.
Also,
No.
didn't the original didn't the murder happen in like the South somewhere?
Mobile, Alabama.
So why is he-
Mobile,
so-
Alabama.
So why is he being flown to California? Why is his wife in California?
Because she
Maybe
was
they
like,
moved
I
in the
hate
8 to
this
10
place.
years that he was in
Okay,
jail.
I
sure.
gotta get out of
Maybe they
Mobile,
moved.
Alabama. Because they were like, it's gonna be so cool if the plane crashes in Vegas. You know.
No, it's gonna be so cheap if we shoot in Vegas,
Well, yeah,
in the
that too.
desert.
Yeah, yeah,
oh
yeah.
wait, no, you're talking about the end.
Well, because they were
Yeah.
flying. Oh, but that was the plane
Well, that-
trying to. Where the hell is that plane going? Colombia, right? Don't they? Doesn't he find
I have no
in the cell, John Cusack,
think so,
who I
yeah.
just love. What the hell happened to John Cusack? I just miss.
I
miss
love him
John
so much.
Cusack movies. Me
He
too.
was on a run. He was so good.
Yeah, I love. I could.
I-
name
He was in
all the-
something. He was in
I
like an
love his
Amazon
sister,
Prime show,
too.
I think, that I watched. I think it was an Amazon Prime show that I watched recently.
I'm pretty sure he's like doing a Bruce Willis right now. Like he's in like so much stuff, I bet. But it's like all stuff that you.
Oh
are
yeah,
not.
yeah.
Like
I thought you meant he.
High
maybe
Fidelity
got
is one of my favorite
sick and-
movies of all time.
Yeah. Did you watch the Hulu female remake with Zoe Kravitz of High Fidelity?
No, I'm pretty much against remakes in general. So kind of like out of principle, I chose not to watch it.
I actually thought it was really good because it wasn't they did a show and it was just the same kind of premise, like scorned woman working at a record shop, you know? So they didn't
Did it have
really
Jack
take
Black in it?
It didn't.
Then I'm out.
Then he's out. He's out.
the last thing I saw John Cusack in was Spike Lee's Chirac in 2015. And everything else that he's been in since then, because he has quite a few credits, I've never even heard of. But I'm assuming you saw him in Utopia.
Yeah, Utopia, which is basically like a bunch of people that are fans of this graphic novel think that the author or the artist is putting, like, almost using it as like the dark web, like putting secrets into this comic book that are talking about, like ruining the world or something like that.
I've never even seen like a trailer for this. I sometimes forget that Prime
It was pretty
even
good.
exists.
Really?
Like I just never use. I think like, oh, let me check what's on HBO. Let me check what's on Netflix. Let me check what's
Oh,
on all.
I
Like Prime
always
is
check
usually like the
Prime.
last thing that I check.
Prime's got some good stuff.
I know, but
Yeah.
their user interface is so terrible that like you
Agreed.
never know what needs to be rent or bought and like versus like what can I actually stream.
Yeah, that's actually
So
true.
I think that's why I'm usually like it's the last one because I don't want to have to deal with like all that. I will pick Apple TV before going to Prime.
Look, don't hate on Apple TV. So many people hate on Apple TV.
I'm not. I'm saying that I would pick it before Prime.
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
on my like I'm subscribed to
Well,
all
the
of them.
Apple
but, like,
TV's interface is actually really good because it pulls up just all Apple's stuff first, which you
Yeah.
can screen for free, and then you have to search for anything else. I think.
I also think I benefit. I agree with you, but I think I benefit from the fact that I'm nowhere in the Apple ecosystem.
Mhm.
So like they limit all their purchasing to their devices.
Mm.
So when I'm on their app on like my Google TV, all that's erased from me. So I could only see what could be streamed.
Got it.
Okay, sorry. This film like this film in this episode is just going to be a bunch of other random
It's
stuff. I
just
feel like.
us
It's-
having fun
No,
with
that's what,
life.
and like that's what this film is. Don't get me wrong. I was actually excited to see this movie. I didn't even take any notes for this movie because I'm like, it's Con Air. Like
Yeah.
I don't. Everyone knows
I only
it's a
took a
fun
few.
ride.
I did take a few.
I took a
but
photo, actually. I took a photo to show you guys my favorite shot from the entire movie when we get to that section.
Love it. Yeah, should we just
Did
like
you want to share it with us? or-
when we get to that
I
section?
will when we
Okay.
get to that section, I said.
Okay. Okay.
Let's continue with the plot and the story.
Yeah. Well, sorry. I already picked it apart from the fact that he went to a federal prison and then he's being.
Yeah, I mean it's dumb.
Point being, even if his wife and child moved to California, the federal government is not flying an inmate to a whole different state.
No.
They're just dumping him out
Hell
in
no.
Mobile,
Yes.
Alabama.
Yes.
Well, and is
Yes.
that something they do where they
Have fun.
fly to different locations to pick up more bad guys to put them on the plane? Like, I
Right.
wouldn't think that they would stop like that.
Right. Let's stop and put even more Hellraisers on this plane. Yeah, can we talk about what the fuck was oh god, his name's blanking from my brain.
Steve Buscemi.
Thank you, Steve Buscemi.
yeah.
What was his whole thing?
He was just he was like, I took him as like a Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yes, me too. But then he leaves the kid alone, brings the Barbie, and then is the only one left at the end. So what are we supposed to take away from that?
He's actually the hero. Evil is good.
Yeah. Or was it, because it made me question, like the thing at the end was more just like ooh, but one of them got away, but then I also, the fact that he did not, do the disgusting, horrible thing to the child, then made me go, are we saying the prison system redeemed him? And now he's got a second chance at life? But then what is that whole scene about? Because it does feel like the only trying to go there deep part of the movie in a really weird way. And I was like, what is happening?
What scene is the only?
Yes, let me set it up. It's the scene where, so they land
in Henderson, Nevada, I believe.
Yes, or
We were talking about the scene of the little girl.
Leroy, Laundry, Lolo.
Yeah, somewhere in California. Somewhere in the California desert.
Yeah, they land at that
the scene
airfield.
with the little girl, yeah.
Yeah. And he, everyone else is like working to fuel the plane and get it back on its feet. And he just wanders off into the desert, into some trailer park. And this little girl is sitting in the dirtiest pool you'd ever see. And she's covered in soot, like she's been rolling around in a fireplace. And
Sandstorm.
he sits with her. Yeah, sandstorm. And he sits with her and he's like not saying anything, and she gets him to sing a song with her. And my thought was like, because before that, he had told Nick Cage that he once wore someone's face, a girl's face, on his his face for 3 days driving in the car. Yeah. So then he sits with her and he starts singing the song with her. So then I'm led to think, oh shit, someone's going to have to come save this little girl. That's another setup, right? Like all the things are happening. Nick Cage is saving fucking everybody. He's also going to save this little girl.
Because there is a shot where they cut back to where they were having tea and the little girl's not there and the dishes are like smashed. Like the teacup is like smashed.
Right. So then you're also like, oh my God, what did he do with the little girl? Where is she? Nick Cage. Here's another setup for Nick Cage to save the day. But then they don't do that. Instead, he just walks back to the plane. He, being Steve Buscemi, just walks back to the plane holding one of the girl's dolls. So we think, oh my God, he fucked her up. And then when they're back on the plane, we see the little girl waving goodbye, like everything was just fine. So I was like, what was that? Was that an ode to, because Steve Buscemi's character keeps talking about everyone and their fucked upness, or like how the reason, like it's so cliche, this or that or the other. So like, were we supposed to think that Steve Buscemi's character like had some screwed up childhood and really,
you know what wouldn't
innocent?
surprise me? If the initial cut didn't have the scene of the girl waving, and maybe if they did like test audiences or something, they thought that was maybe a little too dark. So they went back and were like, let's just add this shot in so people know that he didn't actually kill this little child.
But then
I would say just cut that whole scene then.
But then you're cutting Steve
Buscemi
Buscemi from the movie,
I actually
essentially.
love that scene.
Really?
But I just didn't understand
I just think
of
it's
it.
so fucking creepy. Like Steve Buscemi is just so creepy. Like that's one of the scenes that I always remember the most about that movie, because I just think it's so fucking creepy.
That's the one scene that I always forget. Because even this time watching it, I'm like, oh yeah, he does talk to like a little girl.
It stood out to me, but it stood out to me as, why is this in this movie?
You also don't see how close the trailer park is at first, so it's just like, oh, there's just like this random little white girl in the middle of this
that was a little
pool.
weird.
Yeah.
It looks like he's just walking off
pool.
into the desert, and then all of a sudden he ends up in this pool, and then there's a trailer park.
Yeah.
I took it as he was, so my interpretation of that was that he chose not to because he's actually the smartest of them all. And he knows that if he were to do something at that time, it would just possibly derail his possible freedom. So I took it as he knew that like, I need to not do anything right now to better my chances of actually getting it out later. Because he knew that this was all going to go to...
Right, and then we see him
That's
later.
what I thought. Maybe I'm giving that character too much benefit of the doubt. And like... a little bit too much credit.
I would
Maybe
also
I'm giving
like
the
to
writers too much credit. I
Right.
don't know.
No,
You
I
are.
wanna actually go read the maybe original script, like Brian said, of like what is the original script? Was there more to this character? Or even the script as we saw it filmed, are there things that he says that could hint to whatever his character arc is that I was missing?
Yeah.
Because he does talk a lot, but I was paying less attention to his little bits of talking, more attention to the like explosions and Nick Cage's
It's funny you
ripped guns.
mentioned. Sorry, you were talking about the writer. This guy also wrote High Fidelity and Gone in 60 Seconds.
Love it.
Which the
Oh, he
script for
wrote
Gone in 60
Airtime
Seconds.
with Michael Jordan? Hell yeah.
Oh, the most like the film that just came out?
No.
This year?
This was in 1992.
So what I also loved about this,
the new one is just called Air.
yeah,
Air, yeah.
mhm. Yeah. What I also loved about this script is that the guy, Nick Cage's character, had to be U.S. military, army, like the idea of like setting all these criminals in a plane together and but one of them is a good guy. They couldn't just make one of them a good person. He had to be a good person because he comes from the army and from the South and he's a good, hard, stable American soldier,
It
that
can't
just
be someone
ended up
who
in
was
the wrong
guilty
place.
and is actually reformed.
right,
And like has
right.
like
yes, which
Yeah.
I was like, what the
and has been like, yeah, I am in here because I did something bad, but like
right.
I know what I did and I'm
Right.
better.
I think they also probably wanted somebody who was conceivably badass. Like an Army Ranger is going to be like a badass dude.
Sure.
So that probably is also part of it too.
I also still don't understand how he was guilty when it's like
because he was
Well-
a military weapon.
no, I get that, but when four guys
It
are
was
attacking
self-defense, but he didn't need to really. He wasn't trying to kill the guy, but like he didn't need to kill the guy.
you. Exactly.
No,
But
but
he
I'm
did
saying
kill
like
the guy.
it was self-defense until he kind of took it a little bit further than it needed
got
to
it,
go.
got it.
Too far. Yeah. Can we talk about, did we ever learn what Bubba did? Or Baby O?
I don't remember.
It never mentions it, right? So that's the other thing.
seems
This
like a
guy
good
is
guy.
in. Yes, but then why was he being transported with all these very, very
He was his cellmate, right? He was his
He was
cellmate?
his cellmate. He's also being transferred, but he's being transferred to the like highest max security prison. Yet we're supposed to like love him and want him to keep going, which is why they didn't tell us what the hell he did. That whole plot point didn't make any sense to me. They needed him to have a buddy and a reason to stay on the plane and keep getting on the plane and like saving the day. But why would this guy also, his cellmate, also be transferred to this prison for total?
And why would his diabetes try and kill him within 3 hours?
I don't know enough about that disease.
Yeah, me
to,
either, so I just
to
kinda-
I don't think-
know
I mean, I don't-
the plot. if
I
that
know
makes
quite a
sense or
bit
not.
because like a lot of my family is diabetic. I don't think he would like die.
But if he got up and moved too quickly, he could.
No
It
sudden
was
movements.
like death if he like missed his insulin. And I'm like,
Yeah. And can we talk about the what's his name playing the Danny Trejo
playing the rapist.
the rapist?
Oh yeah.
And like, one, I did not believe him as a rapist. Two, I did not believe the actual lines around, hey, bitch, yeah, I'm gonna get you. You're just another one of my. It was like so cheesy.
I will say none. I didn't think any of the. This might be jumping ahead to acting, but I didn't think. But I do think this is because of the lines.
Yeah, that's why. This is
I
like
don't think any
dialogue.
of the actual criminals felt grounded.
No,
except
sure.
maybe Steve Buscemi, but he says like so
Some
little.
grounded things. Yeah, and I
Well, he
wasn't.
says
I
so
wasn't
little, though,
saying. I
compared to
wasn't
everyone
saying
else.
Danny Trejo. I
No,
didn't
yeah,
see
yeah.
him as a racist, as the actor, or a rapist. Did I say racist?
No,
a rapist
but yeah,
as
it is
the
racist.
actor.
This movie
is
yeah,
very-
that too.
This movie is very problematic.
Yes, yeah, that too. But I didn't. I was more saying the writing around, yes, all the characters, but specifically that one felt so written by a man, in the sense that like there was a tiptoe around it a bit. So instead it just went this stereotypical bitch, I'm gonna get. It was so, but I guess that's all of the characters.
Direct quote.
Maybe I. Bitch.
They were all a little caricature.
They were. They very much were.
Yeah.
The John Malkovich, I think, did the best with grounding his character, but he's John Malkovich, so
Yeah.
he's never not gonna feel grounded.
He also delivered my favorite line of the entire movie.
Which was?
So during that scene in the desert, when they land the plane, and then the one dude, I forget his name, basically tries to like con them out and has his own plane. And when they drive that plane away and it crashes, he comes out and he looks at him and he goes, "Sigh." And John Malkovich goes, "Anara," and throws the match to like. I
wrote that down. Please sigh, Anara.
Anara.
I wrote that down
was
as
the best
my
line of the entire movie. It was so good.
I literally wrote that down.
I busted out laughing.
I wrote that down, and I wrote Dave Chappelle's line when he's trying to mac on the girl, and he says, "You've got the prettiest eyes I've seen in about 5 to 10."
Oh yeah.
It's like I loved that line, and his character cracked me up actually. Sorry, you've been trying to say something, Travis.
No, I was just gonna wrap up this section because I felt like we were naturally moving into acting at this point.
Yeah.
But I was just gonna finish because I feel like we didn't really talk about. Not that there's much that in the plot that happens other than this plane is transporting all of them, and what's his name chooses to stay. Can I just wanted to say, and this could be a bridge into acting. Nicolas Cage was my least favorite of everyone. He's so bland.
That's fair.
Oh, sure.
Like so bland.
I think it's because of that horrible fake accent that kind of ruined it. Why they didn't need to give him that accent.
But like even the writing of his character, like he's like literally just template action superhero.
Well, he's also supposed to be the like helpless sort of dumb cowboy, or at least that's how he played it.
Or like the brooding,
I don't even think he was brooding though. He was so flat.
I think he was
flat.
trying.
He had no fun line. He had no fun lines. He had no he was the one that was like not.
He didn't need the fun lines because he had the fun accent.
You don't need fun lines.
No, he had some fun lines, and they were all about the bunny.
Put down the bunny.
Put down the bunny.
I said, put down the bunny.
Or they tried to give him fun lines because like when he kills, or like I said I'd get that back. When about the picture, and then he says something else to the guy that he kills under the deck. I can't remember. It was a lot of I'm gonna say something and then it's gonna happen. And then after it happens, I'm gonna tell you I said the thing and it happened.
And then when he said like I need this bunny because it's all bloody and nasty and my daughter is not traumatized enough yet. Until I give her this bunny.
This is what it is. This is why it read flat, because you're doing it right now. He couldn't do the accent and have emotion. Like there's no inflection in the, nothing goes up or down. Maybe it's because he was so like so focused on the accent. He was like, I can't. One or the other. What do you want?
He actually stayed in Alabama for a while to try to learn the accent too.
Yes, I love it. I love it.
It didn't work.
Have either of you read Jim Carrey's book? I can't think of the name of it now, but it's like Nick Cage plays a character in Jim Carrey's book, and it like.
Is it fiction? Or is it a memoir?
It starts as what you think is a memoir, and then it kind of goes into fiction. It's a crazy, wild Jim Carrey. Who the fuck knows? Yeah, it's great. I have it. You should read it. But I can't think of the name of it. But Nick Cage plays a character in the book, and you kind of guess that a lot of what is going on is based on the relationships and moments and times that Jim Carrey has had with these people until the third chunk of the book.
The third half
goes into the third half.
New.
Yeah.
Or new-ish, 2020.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Memoirs and misinformation.
Yeah, because it just goes all over the place.
Yeah.
But the way he talks about Nick Cage is great. And I didn't see Nick Cage's, what was the movie that came out this last year, 2022?
Yeah. I forget what it was called, but I know what you're talking about.
The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Yes,
That's
right. But I heard it was wonderful. Yeah.
It's great for anyone, maybe not for you, Kai, because you didn't watch a lot of his 90s movies, but like, because it's making fun of, or like it's
Right. Yeah.
very
yeah.
meta on a lot of his 90 action films.
I'm gonna look up and see how many Nick Cage movies I've actually seen.
Okay, great. We don't have the time for that, so we are moving
Face
on
Off.
to the
Leaving
next
Las
section.
Vegas is actually one of my favorite movies, but you're right, that was also
That
an
is a good movie.
award-winning. I've
That's
seen
what he
all
literally
of
won
his,
the Oscar for.
I've seen all of his award-winning movies. You're right. Pig.
Did you see Mandy? Mandy was
no.
phenomenal, in my opinion. Okay, we are moving on to the next category, which is acting already. We already kind of said that, but do we actually have anything else to say about the acting in this?
I thought Steve Buscemi was good.
Yes.
And I thought John
could watch
Malkovich
John
was good.
Malkovich do literally anything.
And I will say, Nick Cage fucking ripped for that movie. Some of those exercises he was doing in his jail cell, like upside down push-ups or handstand push-ups, was sick.
I was more impressed with the holding himself off the ground and sitting cross-legged.
That was fucking cool.
That in my opinion is a lot harder than
Muscle,
handstand ones.
core strength, balance. He had it
It's
all.
funny.
I liked John
He would
Cusack
get
in
in
this movie,
shape
too.
for all of his movies, but the last one that he got in shape for was Ghost Rider.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw an interview with him where he said everyone kept asking, was that real? Were his abs real? All that stuff. And he would always say, yes, like I worked out really hard for that role. But everyone thinks that it was just CGI'd. So then after that movie, he's like, I'm not going to do this
anymore.
Because
That's what everyone
just
thinks
thinks that
about
it's
me.
CGI.
They think I have CGI
Your
six-pack
body
abs.
is just CGI'd.
Because they're like,
'Cause
yeah,
nobody
his
could
wife's a
possibly
video
look this
editor.
ripped.
She must be doing that. Yeah.
Jay.
What did you guys think about Renoli Santiago? He plays the guy who cross dresses or goes and gets the
Yeah.
ladies.
I would
little-
love to have
that
known
little-
what that character was in jail for.
Right. Or like what the deal was with that, except for at the time of this, like being a funny, because they're in jail and there's probably, everyone has their. Let me be careful here.
Well, no, I
Fuck
mean,
toy.
I
mean,
don't know what the.
people of that identity
Yeah.
are in prison.
Sure. I liked his character. He was an actor of that time of the 90s. I remember seeing him in Dangerous Minds.
I don't know
with-
who he is.
Oh, my mom used to watch Dangerous Minds when I was a kid. White ladies save your
I don't know
movie.
what Dangerous Minds is.
Oh, it's Michelle or not Michelle. Michelle Pfeiffer. And it's a white lady
Oh, he was
teacher.
also in The Night of.
That's the one with the
Night
Coolio
of?
theme song.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that movie.
Yeah, I used to watch that movie a lot as a kid, actually, because of the poetry and because, there's some fun actors in that movie. But anyways, I liked him in this. Diamond Dog was a great character.
I just
Dave
spilled my
Chappelle's
milkshake.
character I liked. MC Gainey, the guy that played Swamp Thing, I loved in this movie. And I loved there was a line for him too where, did I write
Who
that
the hell
down?
is Swamp Thing?
He's the guy that he's the con that is able to fly the plane. He was, I really liked him. He's been in so many things
Yeah, I've seen
over
him in
the
a lot
years.
of things.
But I've never actually known his name. MC Gainey. I like him.
I liked the entire cast.
Yeah, it was a great guy.
I didn't have.
This was actually one of those movies where, because
Oh my gosh!
most times when
Jesse Borrega is in this.
there's a lot of people in this movie.
He's from. He plays Cruz in Blood In Blood Out, which is the literal shirt that I'm wearing.
Oh,
Wasn't
That's
he
so
the
funny.
guy that said Sai Anara? That was that guy, wasn't it?
yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
I didn't even recognize him.
Yeah. I was gonna say something and I lost it. Oh, most of the time when they do star-studded cast movies, for me anyways, they often suck. this was like
Yeah.
star-studded cast, and it was great.
Well,
I really liked it.
This
I
actually
also
really
think
is a
this
good cast.
Mm-hmm.
I also feel like it benefited from a lot of the supporting cast were people that we didn't really know yet. Like Danny Trejo was not like
Maybe that's
massive.
true.
yet.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
He
yeah.
was only in
That's
like
true.
from
Yeah.
Dusk Till Dawn at that point.
I fucking love that movie.
So do I.
It's like one of
I
my
don't know what
favorite.
else he would be in.
Um,
But like
Was this movie before or
even,
after
like-
Half Baked for Chappelle?
I was just about to say Dave Chappelle was still like kind of new.
Yeah, yeah,
he was
yeah.
known for his stand up.
yeah,
He like Chappelle show obviously hadn't happened yet.
Right.
Like he wasn't this
Yeah.
massive
talent.
figure.
Yeah.
That's
So I
true.
think they probably were able to assemble this cast because all those people were probably pretty cheap.
But
at the time.
also, even everyone in the cast was character actors. Even
Mhm.
like, John Malkovich. I guess John Cusack plays a leading man in a lot of stuff. So does Nick Cage.
Yeah.
But everybody else was really very character actors. Whereas oftentimes when they do like a big cast, they kind of cast all leading people, but in character-y. And
Like
and then
Ocean's
you're like,
11
who,
or something.
and then right, and they try to give everybody their. Although I think Ocean's 11 is pretty good too. But
no,
like,
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's a huge cast with
right,
a lot
right,
of
right,
big
right,
names.
right.
Moving on to the last category,
Yeah.
which is technical. This includes anything from what is it? Just everything.
All the things.
Editing, cinematography,
I want to
Score.
start. I want to start with makeup.
production design, makeup.
For the most part, good. Didn't notice. Didn't think about it. With the exception of the kid who was so dirty that she did look like she had rolled around in a chimney, which maybe she had.
It's
Okay,
so funny.
but the
My memory of
second
that kid is
thing-
like pristine clean.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Because her dress was like pretty clean, no?
No. And her face has like black smudges all over it. But the only other thing is the guy that Nicolas Cage is fighting and kills in the bottom of the plane.
Uh-huh.
His teeth were so yellow. They
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
blinded me at one point. And I was like, what the hell is going on? That guy just like gets special ordered Mountain Dew to his cell. Like
Or he just can't afford to buy a toothbrush and toothpaste.
in commissary. Yeah. Yeah. Guess so.
If you don't have anyone putting money on your books, you can't afford
You
anything.
can't afford it.
That's true.
Brian, do you have anything?
Let me first say, it started out great soundtrack. How can I live without you?
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, okay. Let me show you guys this photo I took of my favorite scene in the entire movie. I'm going to hold it up to the screen so you guys can see it. I love when they're going to land the plane and there's that sandstorm and you just have, it looks like, because like they're like a bunch of cops wearing jackets. They almost look like they're like black stormtroopers or something like that.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
it because it was ridiculous. Like it just looked absolutely ridiculous. And I loved it very much.
I will say, having a lot of family in Arizona and personally being in one of those sandstorms, it's intense. Like
Yeah.
it's just like they nailed what a sandstorm is like. Because did they land in Arizona or Nevada for when they picked
I
up
don't
Steve
remember.
Buscemi?
I think it's Arizona, but I can't
Yeah.
remember. Yeah.
The sandstorms are like if you're driving, you literally have to pull over and just wait for it to end because you like can't, like everyone just pulls over and
Right.
you can't do anything. You can't drive or anything.
Yeah, yeah.
But I will say the cinematography, since you're bringing that up, Brian, of the entire film was actually pretty good.
Yeah, and I
It
thought
was,
all
yeah.
of the explosions and everything were really
Mhm.
fun. Nothing
I thought
looked.
the action was well done. in
Yeah,
general.
I did too. Yeah, I mean it's a Jerry Bruckheimer film, and
Yeah.
there aren't many
Yeah.
Jerry Bruckheimer films that I would say they're.
Don't have good
Yeah,
action and
yeah,
explosions.
yeah.
I mean, like it's
Um,
all over the top. It's not all necessarily super realistic, but it's not unrealistic either necessarily.
Yeah, the most unrealistic thing was that plane that landed on the strip of Vegas.
Yeah. Oh, I
It-
just thought
it
you meant the
looked rough.
plane in general, which had cages and
Oh, you're
That
talking about
could
like
be a real
yeah.
thing, though.
like
That could be a
production
real
design.
prisoner
yeah.
transport.
I mean, it was really fun to look at and like watch and all the like,
Yeah.
but it felt pretty. I don't know, high scale. Maybe it's a form of transport. I don't know.
How
I
many
just
prisoner
assumed-
transport planes have you been on, Kai?
Our
just
country does love our
assumed
prisons, so
It's true. But I
could only
assumed
imagine.
you'd make like a truck and drive them all the way. You know?
I don't know.
Does it really happen on planes?
How does what really
It
happen?
might.
Prisoner transport? I don't know. I'm sure.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah.
Con Air.
I forgot to say who my favorite actor in this movie was. I just realized. So the scene at the end when Chappelle gets pushed out of the plane, the old couple that are like in the car that he lands on,
Oh yeah.
the old guy, he's talking about the car wash.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
The
yeah.
car
yeah.
wash. WARSH.
Oh, does he say wash?
That's how we say it in
Wash.
Washington.
Yeah, it's I
Washington.
just got my car washed and now I got all this bird poop on my car.
That was also supposed
That's
to take
it.
place in like
Yeah, I
New
don't know.
Mexico,
Yeah.
but it's very clear that it's Grand and 7th in
Yeah,
downtown
right.
LA.
Yes. I noticed that too.
Not to those of us who don't know LA that well.
Yeah.
I often wonder, like, people who don't know LA that well, do they just think like, oh, this is the same exact set from every single other? This is where Armageddon took place. When Armageddon was supposed to take place in Manhattan, the opening scene, but it's very clearly like Broadway and Spring Street of downtown.
I haven't watched that movie in so long. I would have to.
just
That's
watched it like a month ago.
well, because I grew
That
up
would be
in
good
a
for this
different
pod.
state. Yeah, actually, yeah.
I
And
think I like that movie too much.
to actually
on
do
the-
it.
to tear it
There's
apart.
a couple of those when we make choices for this show that I'm like, I don't want to do that because I
See-
don't want to pick it apart because I love that movie.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of how I felt about this movie. Like
Yeah.
I do really like Con Air.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Look, this was a movie
Yeah.
from the 90s that I watched for the first time today, and I would totally rewatch this movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
enjoyed it.
I think that just about sums it up.
Yeah.
Or does anyone have any final thoughts?
I will say I didn't love the score so much.
Me neither.
It was a little too.
I was only talking about that first song.
Yeah, especially what was the song playing at the end when he finally gets his daughter, or
I
gets
don't
to like me.
remember.
It was terrible. Whatever it was not good. I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't love the score in this movie.
Cool.
I don't even remember the score otherwise, except for that one song, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Well, that's Con Air.
yeah,
I feel
that's
like
Con Air.
I feel like we got to make a bunch of explosion noises though.
There wasn't any guns. There's no guns on the plane.
They
Oh,
have a
in
bunch
the
of
desert.
machine guns
Yeah,
in the desert.
like 3 guys get shot.
Oh my
Like
gosh,
that.
I'd even talk about that. How, like, it baffles me sometimes when these movies think that they could, well, they do get away with it, I guess. But when, like, our, like, police forces are usually very tactical and, like, smart. But, like, in these movies, they're like, oh, yeah, the police are going to come
But it's
right
like the
into this,
Keystone
like,
Cops.
Yeah.
right into this, like, makeshift alleyway that we created, and then we're just going to ambush them.
That only
And I'm
John
like,
Cusack can see. No way,
Yeah.
they're
Oh.
gonna.
They're going to get
What about
ambushed.
his dad's sandals?
John Cusack's dad
Yeah.
sandals. My dad had those sandals in that year. I totally had that thought. I was like, whoa, I haven't seen sandals like that in a long time. Yeah.
He's wearing the suit that's probably not cheap, and then he's got these sandals on
Dad
with
sandals
socks,
on.
with
Yeah.
high white socks on.
Yes.
I know we didn't do nitpicks, but that police thing was probably my nitpick because
Yeah.
like it always
Oh, that
takes
was
me out
so
of
dumb.
it always takes me out of the movie. Same thing happened in The Dark Knight Rises when all the police come out and then they charge at all the people with machine guns and they just get mowed down and I'm like, these are supposed to be like
The
a
best
police
of the
force.
best.
Like
Yeah.
y'all go through training and
Yeah.
stuff. Like I don't what?
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so that was Con Air, or this is Con Air. That we talked about Con Air.
We are Con Air.
We are
Yes.
Con Air.
Let us know what you think down below in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe here.
You're all welcome for picking the best episode, the best movie of this entire season.
Yes, everyone please go thank Brian on his Instagram or wherever. Tune in next week because we actually, for sure this time, kick off our gangster movie month section. Marathon?
Marathon.
Keep
Whatever
the
you wanna
change,
call
you
it.
filthy animal.
Yeah.
Whatever you wanna call
Are we
it.
doing that as a gangster movie?
We should.
Those two could be in the mob. Who knows?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well-
I was thinking. Never mind. You were naming the actual movie. I was thinking of Home Alone.
No, that's what I was quoting. The movie that he plays
But that,
for the
but that is
pizza
an
guy.
actual gangster movie. The
Oh,
actual
yeah, but
movie
I was
that's
quoting Home Alone.
yeah.
We actually aren't doing any movie with Joe Pesci in it, so please do not get your hopes up. Next week, we will be watching Smokin' Aces. So be sure to
Another
watch that ahead of
Brian
time
pick.
so that you could be in the discussion with us.
Ew.
If you want to follow us and talk to us more other than here on YouTube, you could also follow us on Instagram or Twitter. Not really on Twitter. We're not really on Twitter anymore.
Ain't nobody on Twitter.
What
Get
is
with
Twitter?
the business.
Yeah. But you can follow us everywhere at goodbad_badgood. You can follow me everywhere at Travis_Orozco. You can follow Kai at
Kylie and Mai.
and Brian at.
Boss it.
Okay. Until next time when we talk, was it your pick, Kai? No,
it was my
Brian
pick, I
said
think,
it was
wasn't
his pick,
Gosh,
but
we're
I
doing
thought maybe
two
it was
picks
me
in a row for
that
Brian.
picked that. What did I
Yeah,
pick?
buddy.
You picked Legend.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Great.
Awesome. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Boy.
Bye.
Good Bad Bad Good is an Ex Nihilo production. Original theme music and sound engineering done by Jen Star Hacker. Find her at hackersoundmusic.com. Opinions expressed are solely that of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views of any entity they represent.